Alright guys, we've got a video here from Chill Dude Shadow Mode, and these are popular snacks that are slowly damaging your brain.
Let's
That's
get
not
right
good.
into it. Number 7. The energy drink masquerading as fuel. Picture this. You're exhausted. Life is happening too quickly. Deadlines are tap dancing on your skull. And suddenly you crack open an energy drink. The can
Look, I'm still guilty of doing this. I am trying to cut them down and drink coffee, which some people would say the caffeine, that probably poses its own problems. It is what it is. It's at least a little bit more natural. But energy drinks, you know what? I know that they're bad for you, but I don't even know what it is in them that makes them bad for you. Like, because I'm a dumbass. But on a basic level, I know that too much sodium's not good because it dehydrates your body, you retain water, you get dry mouth. It's just really gross. It's not pleasant. I don't know about the chemicals. I guess we're going to find out.
hisses like it's promising salvation. Don't worry, it whispers. I've got wings or claws or extreme lightning power or whatever branding we paid millions for. You take a sip and immediately feel like your nervous system just logged into turbo mode.
I've been having those new cans of Solo. There's this new Solo energy drink in Australia. I want to be Solo, man. It's like an energy drink mixed with lemon squash, and it's actually quite nice, sugar-free too. I don't know if this is in this category, but yeah, that's what I've been having.
But here's the fine print. Your brain conveniently ignores. These drinks are chemical roller coasters,
Right,
disguised as productivity juice.
sure.
Caffeine alone isn't the villain, too much of it is. And energy drinks pack enough caffeine to make your neurons jitter like they're performing a tap dance routine inside your skull.
Well, one thing I learned about caffeine recently on another video is I always thought caffeine was a stimulant, but what it actually does is block the tide receptors in your brain. So your body ignores its fatigues and just keeps pushing, and that's apparently why we get that really big afternoon crash. I don't know how true this is. After all, I'm taking it with a pinch of salt. I learnt it on the internet. But that's what I heard. And also fascinating because I always thought caffeine was a boost, not a fatigue blocker. So that's really interesting.
When your brain gets slammed with excessive caffeine, your adenosine receptors, those chill little molecules that tell you when you're tired, basically get duct taped into
Yeah, there
silence.
you go.
So your brain thinks it's alert, but actually, it's just being held hostage. And then there's taurine, marketed like it's liquid genius juice.
Yeah, that's right. I remember all the energy drinks. It didn't matter what brand would always, maybe not so much now, but I know when they first became popular, it'd always be like taurine on it. Like, ooh, taurine, that means it's going to make me awake. It was like a big marketing ploy for sure.
Fun fact, taurine is good in small amounts, but combined with monster-level caffeine, your brain gets shoved into fight or flight mode without your consent.
Right.
Think of it like replacing your brain's entire staff with caffeinated raccoons. Hyper, confused, strangely motivated raccoons. Let's sprinkle in
Yeah,
high
I sometimes overdo the caffeine, and like I try to keep all my caffeine now, unless I'm really exhausted, for in the morning, and I'm fine. But if I have that little bit too much, I sometimes give me, I guess you could say, what would be called an anxiety attack driven by caffeine, if that makes a sense. And I used to be really bad on it. Sometimes I'd get experiences of like the fuzzies and vertigo and things like that. I'm not that irresponsible anymore. I'm talking about when I was younger. But I've certainly had some side effects from too much of it, not to mention probably what it's going to do to your heart, I would assume. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. But yeah, I mean, again, apparently this guy makes it sound like it's bad even in moderation. So I'm kind of a little bit sad, to be honest.
fructose corn syrup, which energy drinks chug like it's a competition. Your brain hates sugar spikes. They cause inflammation, stress the hippocampus, your memory's landlord, and make your reward system fire like a slot machine stuck on max. Over time, sugary drinks are linked to reduced brain volume, the literal shrinking of the organ you're using to decide whether to keep drinking this
We get it. Energy drinks are bad. Stop making me feel bad about it.
neon liquid anxiety. So while energy drinks make you feel invincible for an hour, the crash turns your brain into a sluggish, confused marshmallow, wondering why it ever trusted you in the first place.
Yeah, that's probably explains the brain fog I get normally on a daily basis. So maybe I'll just cut my caffeine and my coffee down just a little tiny bit, even if the topic is energy drink specific.
Number 6. The healthy, flavored yogurt lie. Ah, yogurt. The food that struts around pretending to be a wellness guru. It shows up with probiotics wearing sunglasses, telling you it's good for your gut and therefore your entire life.
Well, hang on. So, I mean, I eat Greek yogurt, and Greek yogurt by itself kind of tastes like ash, to be honest. So you assume based on that it'd be good for you, right? Greek yogurt usually, has, high in protein and everything. you mix in fruit and everything, you'd think you get like, I guess you could say the probiotics, the protein, the fruit, and it's like a next to 0 calorie snack. I always thought it was good for you. I'm assuming like maybe they're talking specifically here about the yogurts that say like 99% no sugar and all that, when really the 1% of sugar it is still in there is a lot. I don't know, because I always assumed Greek yogurt was good for you, but look, let's continue.
And sure, plain yogurt, amazing.
Yeah,
good
great.
bacteria, balanced nutrients, brain friendly. But flavored yogurt? That's a dessert with an identity crisis. You look at the label and think, ooh, strawberry yogurt, sounds healthy. But if actual strawberries were percentage of content employees, they'd barely qualify for part-time work. What you're really eating is sugar in a creamy disguise.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, sometimes these frozen yogurts even have more sugar than the actual ice cream, I found out, which I was really shocked about. And, you know, my girlfriend got manipulated by the marketing slogans too. Oh, look, it's yogurt, it's good for you. And I'm like, I've explained to her, unless it's like Greek yogurt, it's probably still loaded with sugar, even if it says only 1% sugar. Like, that's still like 1% of the container. That's still a lot, you know?
Some tiny cups contain the sugar equivalent of an entire candy bar, except you feel responsible eating it. Your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for decision-making and impulse control, absolutely hates sugar roller coasters. Too much sugar creates oxidative stress, basically. Your neurons start to feel like overworked employees in a hot office with no AC. Over time, this stress affects learning, memory, and emotional regulation.
Yeah, look, I know it's not as good, but if you want to have look, there's a big line of like Greek yogurt now that is that regular plain Greek yogurt, but it has chunks of fruit in it. But if you want to save more money, again, like I said, just get a tub of like Greek yogurt and cut up slices of like banana, mango, your own strawberries and everything. And look, it's not going to be as good as the sugary stuff, but the fruit really does balance out the plain flavor of the yogurt, and the texture's quite nice still.
Your brain doesn't just get annoyed, it gets worse at being a brain. And don't forget artificial flavors and dyes, which are like sending chemical clowns to perform inside your nervous system. Your brain tries to ignore them, but they affect neurotransmitters linked to attention and behavior. If your thoughts ever feel like they're buffering, your yogurt habit might be partially responsible. Meanwhile, the gut-brain axis is sitting there like a long-distance relationship under stress. Excess sugar disrupts your gut microbiome, the ecosystem that works closely with your brain. When the gut flora get messed up, your mood, cognition, and clarity all start glitching like
I just didn't think nutrition information could ever be presented in such a dark way. Obviously, it's like dark humor, but damn, bro.
Video game running on a 1998 computer. But as long as the yogurt is packaged in a pastel cup with pictures of fruit that practically scream wellness, most people keep falling for the con. It's not yogurt that's the problem. It's yogurt with the same sugar content as a donut pretending.
Yeah, I mean, there it is, guys. That strawberry yogurt that you get off the shelf thinking it's a guilt-free treat, it's got the same amount of sugar as a Krispy Kreme. So what's the moral of the story? Eat donuts instead? No, actually, I don't think that's the point he's trying to get across. Maybe it's the point I'm trying to justify.
It's
I love
doing your brain a
donuts.
favor. Number 5. The mighty instant noodles.
Oh, don't tell me this. I don't want to hear this right now, because I do like ramen and I do sometimes eat staples. Like I usually, keep healthy foods in the cupboards and stuff, but just like anyone else, I try to save a buck. And, sometimes it's nice to sneak in a meal of ramen there because it costs next to nothing. And I mainly look at like the calorie count at the back. It's not too much usually when I have a look. You don't have 1 packet, 2 packet, and it'll replace a meal. I do know a problem with these ramen packets is they are loaded with sodium, and sometimes if I have too much, I feel dry and again dehydrated, retain water, all that kind of stuff. But in moderation, I don't know what the problem is because I always read the labels and it looks like calorie-wise it's not that high as long as you don't overdo it. So let's see what the problem is.
Picture yourself starving, broke, exhausted, or simply unwilling to cook anything that involves more than boiling water. So you grab instant noodles, the culinary equivalent of giving up, but in a comforting way.
Sure.
You know it's not healthy, but you still convince yourself it's not that bad.
Well, I mean, it doesn't have like your vegetables in it, your fruits, all that kind of nutrition. I mean, it's pretty much loaded carbs, right, and sodium. But it's going to fill your belly. As I said, as a once-off for a meal here and there, as a meal replacement, probably not that big a deal. I guess if you're living off it every day, that's a problem. Like, I remember one time recently, I had ramen for my breakfast, a big bowl, and a big bowl of ramen for dinner because that's all I could be bothered to have. And I have to admit, I felt like crap the next day. But if I just throw it in for like one meal here and then, it on my body, it doesn't really feel like it's that big a deal.
Your brain does not agree. Instant noodles are a salt explosion hiding
Yeah,
in a
there
bowl.
you go.
The sodium levels are so high that if your brain had kidneys of its own, they would file for labor union protection.
Sure.
Excess sodium doesn't just affect your heart, it can impact your brain's cognitive functions. Too much of it can tighten blood vessels, restrict blood flow, and make your brain act like it's trying to run on low power mode. But salt is only the opening act. Then comes MSG, a flavor enhancer that gets way too much demonization, despite actually being pretty safe for most people.
So far this video, I'm not allowed to have energy drinks, I'm not allowed to have yogurt, and I'm not allowed to have instant ramen. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Food Police. I guess I'm not allowed to have any fun either.
The real issue is everything else floating inside that flavor packet. Preservatives, saturated fats, chemical stabilizers with names that look like Wi-Fi passwords. Your brain does not enjoy trying to decode those. And let's not forget TBHQ, a preservative that keeps noodles from turning into tiny mold ecosystems while sitting in warehouses for years.
Yeah, actually, come to think of it, I never thought about it like that. Because, yeah, I mean, it's like the noodles. Like, you would expect them to mold up and start going bad, right? Just like any other, I guess you could say, like wheat or whatever it's made out of. Forgive me, geez, I'm having a complete brain, probably because I ate too much ramen. That's probably why I can't think right now. But, yeah, you would expect them to mold up and go bad, right? So, come to think of it, yeah, I mean, you go to, like, the supermarket or the market or whatever, there's always, like, all those packets of ramen on the shelf, like, sometimes hundreds of packets. I would assume a lot of them would be sitting there for weeks, if not months. How they've not gone bad, yeah, I mean, that's not something I've really thought about, but now it makes sense. Damn those chemicals!
In small doses, TBHQ is allowed. In instant noodle doses, it's like giving your cells a riddle they can't solve. Some research suggests TBHQ can interfere with brain signaling, especially around the immune system. Not exactly the mental boost you hoped for. But the biggest brain villain? Lack of nutrients.
Yeah.
Instant noodles are the edible version of filler episodes. They keep you occupied but don't move the plot of your health forward.
I know they're not good for your health, but I mean, tell that to the people who are broke, eh? Like, I mean, look, I'm a little bit better off, thankfully, now that I'm in my middle age. But I'm thinking back to my 20-year-old self, which I was living on instant ramen and noodles. And, you know, there were periods of my life where I made irresponsible choices of money, but also periods of my life where things were just genuinely tough. And so, you know, I'd keep instant pasta or instant noodles in the cupboard and live off that stuff because you could survive off like $1 or $2 a day. And then you'd have money to, like, live or actually be able to do things, you know. And I mean, trying to tell that to the young kid surviving, right? I mean, what's the alternative? Ramen was made to begin with to be an affordable meal substitute for people who are broke. So if it's literally killing you by eating instant ramen, okay, offer a solution at least. What should they eat instead?
Without proper amino acids, vitamins, and minerals, your brain gets sluggish. It's trying to run an expensive, high-maintenance organ on the nutritional equivalent of cardboard. Still, you keep slurping them down at 2 a.m., because somehow they taste like comfort and despair at the same time. Number 4. The glorious ice cream tub.
So, I mean, obviously, eating a whole tub of ice cream going to be loaded with calories, right? Probably artificial colors and things like that, flavors, all that. I don't know how they harm the body. I guess we're going to find out. I don't eat ice cream too often. But if you get like a 450 gram, sorry, America, I don't know what that is in ounces, tub of Ben & Jerry's, right? You'd be surprised. The calorie count is not actually that bad. Like, the calorie count on like a 450 gram Ben & Jerry's, which is usually, about $12 to $14 in Australia, probably more expensive now depending where you get it. It's probably it's probably like half your calories for the day, maybe a little bit less, a third of your calories. That doesn't really sound so bad. I mean, like, if you're having, like, just, like, vegetables and a fruit salad or something for dinner, you could probably fit that in. Again, I wouldn't recommend doing it more than once a week. But I was surprised how low in calories it was. Like, I didn't think ice cream was actually the end of the world if you're not gorging, like, a 4-liter bucket at once. You know how sometimes girlfriend broken up with a boyfriend and she's sitting in front of the couch watching the daytime soaps and she's eating a gallon of ice cream. That different. I'm just talking about like one serving of Ben and Jerry's. But let's see what's wrong with ice cream now. Fun Police strikes again.
Picture yourself having a rough day. You open the freezer. There it is, your frosty emotional support bucket. Ice cream is that friend who shows up when things go wrong and says, "Shh, let's forget your problems for 10 minutes. But while your feelings are being soothed, your brain is getting a biochemical slap. First issue, sugar overload. Ice cream has the sugar equivalent of a romantic breakup text, short, sharp, and emotionally devastating. Your brain gets flooded with glucose so fast it's like, are we being attacked? What is happening? Then insulin.
Yeah, but how much are you eating in order to be attacked like that? Like, are we talking like a bowl of ice cream, a liter of ice cream? How long does it take for it to have a negative effect on the body? Are we talking just any amount of ice cream? Are we talking even just like one scoop? What is the danger zone here?
And kicks in and overcorrects, leaving your brain in a temporary fog. Long-term high sugar consumption contributes to insulin resistance, which has been linked to cognitive decline and memory issues. It's like your brain is slowly trying to have a conversation through a wall of static. Then come a saturated fat, which is great for making ice cream taste amazing, but not so great for neuron communication. Diets high in saturated fat have been shown to impair the hippocampus, the part of your brain that decides whether you remember that important thing you were supposed to do or forget your cousin's birthday again. And we cannot ignore the additives. Emulsifiers, stabilizers, artificial flavors. Ice cream is basically the Avengers of unnecessary chemicals. Some emulsifiers may alter gut bacteria, which then messes with mood and cognitive clarity. If your thoughts ever feel like they're moving through a foggy swamp, your ice cream habit might be gently sabotaging you. But here's the dramatic twist. Your brain loves this cream. The combination of sugar and fat is literally engineered to trigger reward circuitry. When you take that first creamy bite, your brain goes, this is the meaning of life. And you listen.
Yeah, you know what, come to think of it, I have a lot of comfort foods that I love. Donuts, pizza, fried chicken, burgers. But out of everything that I eat, I don't think there's any bigger euphoria than when I have like that triple chocolate Belgian ice cream with all the fudge and cream and everything. Something just definitely pops off in your brain different compared to all the other aforementioned food I mentioned. So yeah, you know what? I actually haven't noticed that myself.
And you keep listening until half the tub disappears. Ice cream isn't evil, but it's definitely holding your brain's health hostage in exchange for emotional comfort. Number 3, the late-night pizza slice.
Oh, dude, no, come on, bro. I mean, to be fair, I'm not doing late-night pizza. I have a lot more discipline now, and I kind of do intermittent fasting. I usually don't eat for 16 hours and eat over an 8-hour period, if that makes sense. And I haven't had pizza for months, actually. I usually save that for when I'm traveling back overseas with my girlfriend. So we only eat that a few times a year. But when we do eat pizza, we do gorge it. It's one of my most favorite things ever. Nothing better than a 4-cheese cheesy pizza. Love the deep pan. Occasionally have the New York slice. Obviously, it's loaded with calories and oils and fats and things like that. I get that. I hope this guy can at least justify a slice in moderation because he's ruined already 4 other foods for me today. So what's he got to say?
Imagine this. It's 1 a.m. You're hungry. You're scrolling through food delivery like it's a dating app, and suddenly pizza appears. Perfect. Hot. Cheesy. Emotionally irresistible. You know you shouldn't, but you do.
Do it.
You always do. Pizza feels like harmless indulgence, but to your brain, it's a biochemical rave. Here's the biggest villain. High saturated fat. Cheese, pepperoni, sausage. Oh look, it's an all-you-can-eat fat buffet. Saturated fats don't just clog arteries. They interfere with the brain's ability to create new synapses.
Fuck, man, like all my favorite things in the world are on here. I just can't wait to see what the final 2 things are going to be. I definitely probably need to see the doctor and get my heart checked out after this because thanks a lot, dude. You've just made me super extra paranoid about my health. And it's not even that I'm making bad choices now. I've really been looking after my health lately. But years of abuse in my 20s and 30s, eating things like pizza and ice cream and energy drinks and donuts, I'm probably going to drop dead tomorrow now and not even know.
Synapses equals learning and memory. So while you're enjoying that cheesy goodness, your neurons are quietly giving up and sitting on beanbags. Then there's the refined carbs in the crust, which hit your bloodstream faster than a spoiler hits the internet.
Is that why you think a lot of people leave the crust in the box? Like, I personally love the taste of the crust, and I like to get the cheesy stuffed crust usually when I order a pizza, or the hot dog crust. Sometimes you get a wiener and the cheese in the crust. It's pretty good. But is that why a lot of people throw their crust in the box because they think they're reducing their carb count? I actually think that's smart, come to think of it.
The rapid glucose spike stresses your brain, triggers inflammation, and forces a hormonal roller coaster that leaves you cognitively slower hours later. Yes, even the next morning when you're wondering why you feel like a malfunctioning robot, pizza sauce doesn't help you
Nah, because the next morning there's usually pizza left in the fridge, and I just have cold pizza for breakfast as well.
either. Many commercial sauces are loaded with hidden sugar. Combine sugar with fat, and your brain's reward circuitry lights up like it just won a vacation. Dopamine shoots through the roof, you crave more, and then crash. But the real kicker, eating pizza late at night wrecks your sleep quality. When you sleep poorly, your brain can't clear out metabolic waste, one of which is beta
Yeah,
amyloid.
look, I've noticed that in general with oily food, whether it's like my Korean fried chicken, pizza, onion rings, things like that, just the mixture of the sodium and the oils and everything like that. I just get an element of discomfort, dry mouth, things like that. Just makes the night's sleep just really, really uncomfortable. I always try to like do my best and drink a whole pile of water the whole night after a bad meal before bed. But it feels like no matter how much water I have, if I have pizza or fried chicken or whatever, I ended up just waking up constantly being dehydrated and constantly having to go to the bathroom anyway. So, I mean, it's all true.
A protein linked to dementia when it builds up.
Oh, no.
So that 1 a.m. pizza slice, your brain remembers it. And not in a good way. Pizza isn't trying to ruin your life. It's just really good at it. Number 2. The sugary breakfast cereal scam.
Oh, this is fine. I don't even like this stuff. Like, if I'm having breakfast, I usually make a bowl of oats, one of my instant meals, which is probably not too good for me, but I've got like rice and chicken instant meals because they're cheap in the cupboard as well. But I either have that or a salad-filled sandwich, low calorie, or a bowl of oats. So, yeah, I just think if you know, I don't think anyone's really eating sugary bowls of cereal anymore unless they're a kid or a Reddit mod, to be honest. So I'm safe from this one, thankfully. But let's see what's wrong with the Fruit Loops.
Imagine waking up, stumbling into the kitchen, and grabbing your favorite cereal, the one with the smiling cartoon mascot who looks way too happy for 7 a.m. You pour it into a bowl, add milk, and boom, instant childhood nostalgia. But here's the problem. Your brain is about to experience the nutritional equivalent of a prank. Sugary cereals claim they give you energy to start your day, which is technically true if you consider a sugar crash part of your morning routine. These cereals are mostly refined grains, coated in enough sugar to fund a dentist's dream mansion. When that sugar hits your bloodstream, your brain experiences a rapid glucose spike. At first, you feel awake, alert, maybe even brave enough to face your inbox.
I mean, I was guilty of eating all the sugary cereals when I was a kid. Fruit Loops, Cocoa Pops, Frosties, just to name a few things. Probably explains why I needed to spend $12,000 of my own money to fix my teeth once I became an adult. Glad I did it. Probably shouldn't have had to spend that money in the first place.
But 45 minutes later, your brain dissolves into fog. You feel distracted, irritable, and strangely empty, like your thoughts are glitching. That's because your insulin overcompensates, pulling too much sugar out of your blood and leaving your brain starved for fuel. This cycle, repeated every morning, wears down cognitive performance faster than a toddler with access to crayons and white walls. Then there's the artificial coloring, which is basically a rainbow of chemicals disguised as fun.
Yeah, but you know, with the whole bowl of Fruit Loops again, I think even as a 7, 8, 9-year-old looking at the bowl of Fruit Loops, I was kind of like, something doesn't really look right here, because, you know, when you're talking about your basic natural fruits like your oranges and your strawberries and things like that, the bowl of Fruit Loops just didn't really quite match up, if that makes sense, in color symmetry. It kind of looked a little bit more like a packet of Crayola crayons, if that makes sense. So, I mean, even at 7, 8, 9, I knew something was up with the colors.
Some studies link certain dyes to hyperactivity and behavioral issues, especially in kids. Your brain is just trying to figure out why your memory feels like a corrupted game save file. Even the so-called whole grain cereals often contain oils, preservatives, and processed formulations that don't actually act like whole food in your
Yeah,
body.
you hear that, guys? Make sure you're reading the labels because I guess I have to check out what ingredients are in my food more because I'm a little bit ignorant. I'm just usually like read the calories. I count my calories. I'm like, okay, I could have, what is it, about 2,000 calories a day. And then I'll read the back of the label, be like, okay, a bowl of this only going to be 150 calories. She'll be right, and I'll just get it within reason. And then, yeah, I mean, fuck, I've got to watch out for things like sugars, fats, chemicals, colorings, preservatives. It's just like, it's hard work reading labels, man. I'm a busy guy. Got to make those moves.
Your gut microbiome, the backstage crew, for your entire mood and cognitive function gets confused. Instead of feeding it fiber-rich nutrients, you're giving it sugar-dusted cardboard shards.
Dusties.
Worst of all, the marketing. Cereal companies use bright colors, nostalgia, and fortified with vitamins as camouflage. But here's a fun fact. Adding vitamins to junk doesn't make it healthy. It just makes the junk richer. Your brain wants breakfast. It does not want dessert at sunrise. Number 1. The innocent-looking white bread.
Ah. Well, okay. Well, let's hear what's wrong with white bread. Obviously, it's loaded with sugar. People don't realize just how much sugar is in bread. Like, if you get a loaf of bread and you read the calorie count at the back for the whole loaf of bread, it'll probably shock you. And, like, when I'm with my girlfriend overseas, we get this special potato bread, which just tastes just as delicious as, like, anything you'd get with eaten it from the fast food place, right? But it's loaded in sugar. And here we were thinking, oh, just a little bit of bread for breakfast. It's not that bad for us. And we just kept, I mean, I can't talk for her, but for myself, I just kept packing the pounds on, right? So I've also heard that wheat bread, brown bread, is deceptively not good for you as well. I'm not so sure about the whole grain. I think this is going to be a learning experience. I love bread. It's a guilty pleasure. I think everyone loves bread. Let's hear what's wrong with it.
White bread seems harmless, soft, fluffy, comforting, basically a carbohydrate pillow. But your brain sees it differently. To your neurons, eating white bread is like replacing premium fuel with the cheapest gas station sludge you can find on the side of a highway.
Oh, what is it, the E90? Right, okay.
White bread is made from refined flour stripped of all fiber, nutrients, and personality. It digests so fast it might as well be pre-chewed. When you eat it, your blood sugar skyrockets. Your brain gets hit with a giant glucose wave, then immediately suffers the predictable crash.
Well, I don't need to have the Wonder White bread. I mean, if it's loaded with sugar that bad for you, like, obviously other alternatives don't quite taste as nice, but you're still bread and you still get the texture of bread and you still get to put the condiments and everything in it that you want. So my question is, I mean, we're hearing about all the bad things about bread. Well, what's the alternative? Like, let me know in the comments, guys. Like, what bread should I be eating instead?
Cue fogginess, irritability, and impaired focus. Over time, diets high in refined carbs are linked to inflammation in the brain and reduced cognitive performance. The hippocampus, the brain's memory manager, takes some of the worst hits. Repeated sugar spikes basically make it less efficient at forming and storing memories. But here's the underappreciated villain, glycation. Refined carbs contribute to the formation of AGE's advanced glycation end products, which damage proteins, including those in your brain. Think of AGEs as tiny, chaotic gremlins that break into your cognitive machinery and rearrange the furniture. And since white bread contains almost no fiber, your gut microbiome gets nothing out of it.
So you don't have good gut health. You get, what is it, muscular atrophy or whatever it's called. Well, how do you say that word? Where you lose proteins and therefore you lose muscle health? Right. I really didn't think white bread was that bad for you. But at the same time, I would assume if you're only having like a couple slices, I'm assuming that would be bad for you if you're having it by itself, right? But if you're just having a couple slices and you're loading it up with things like tomato, lettuce, breast chicken, and all these other healthy ingredients, right? That would sort of outweigh, the benefits would outweigh just a couple slices of white bread, wouldn't it? So again, the point I'm trying to make is, I mean, what's the cutoff point? Like, should you just not have white bread at all? Or is it completely off the table? Or is it only if you have too much?
Nourishment for the good bacteria means less communication between gut and brain. Poor gut health equals poor brain health. It's an unfair partnership, really. The worst part? White bread is everywhere. Sandwiches, toast, snacks, you eat it without thinking. And while one slice won't ruin your life, Years of daily consumption quietly nudge
Well,
your
there's the
brain in the
answer.
wrong direction. It's soft. It's innocent. It's also a slow cognitive assassin. That's all for today.
Oh my gosh. Well, you know what, Chill Dude Shadow Mode? Thank you for destroying all my favorite foods today. Please make sure you're giving him a sub. Give us a sub as well. Let us know what you think in the chat, guys. We'll see you in the next video. Take care, everybody.